I'm Dean Galusha and welcome to another edition of Shootin' Plink. Today we're going to be back with a couple of the guns we've shown you in the past, but that isn't necessarily what we're going to be doing. We're not reviewing either one of them. First is the one that I carry, which is the Taurus GX4. It's a shorter barreled gun, very accurate, very good gun. This one right here is the Security9, a longer barrel, which I'll show you, and there's a reason I'm showing you the difference here. You can see how much longer this is. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to see how these fire from a longer distance. Most of the time when you're qualifying with a 9mm such as this, you're shooting already any of them that you'd have in the calibers, but when you qualify for your CCW, you're shooting at probably about 5, 7, and 10 yards. Well, that's a shorter distance, and 10 yards can sometimes be a little tricky. And then you go to 25 and it's a little bit trickier, but you can usually make it with it. So what about if you extend that out even further to like 35, 40 yards? Well, we're going to try that and see the difference between the short one or even the gun. The gun itself could be a little bit more accurate. But again, there's going to be a difference with the barrel. And how much difference? You know, we're going to fire 10 rounds in each one. And we're going to do them from around 35 yards. We're going to go over to the 50-yard range, and I've got a silhouette up there. Now, it's probably about 2/3 the size of a regular B-27. It's a Make It Ring AR-500 one. So we're going to hear it when it hits. And that's what we want to see. And I've got it freshly painted, so if we get a chance, we might take a look at it afterwards. But we're going to fire 10 rounds out of each one of these. I've already got them loaded. And here's the next thing. What am I going to shoot for ammunition? They're both going to have the same, but it's going to have a cheaper ammo. It's the Wolf Military Classic. Now, why would I pick that? Well, one thing, it is cheaper, and it's definitely cheaper than these rounds right here, which are a Hornady self-defense, but that isn't the reason we're going to redo it. We want to do it with these cheaper rounds to see how it will perform with those, because if it's going to perform with those really well, it will definitely with these that are $1 or more a round. So they're loaded, or at least the magazines are, and we're going to take these over and let's start shooting. Okay, you're back here with me. In fact, I'm in behind you. We're going to rack the first round in, and I'm going to start off with the longer barreled Security9 first. So we'll see how that works, and then we'll try the shorter barrel Taurus. So let's do it. Okay, I got about 5 rounds on that with a longer barrel. I think it was firing a little low. So now let's try the shorter barrel and see if it does any better. This is going to be interesting. Well, just about the same amount, and I actually had to hold the gun differently. Let me get rid of my Howard lights here first. Boy, I tell you, those things really amplify. Anyway, what I was going to show you is the difference here. Now, I hit them about the same amount of time. I wasn't right on. Where I was hitting, I think I was hitting low with this one, and this one I was hitting high. That's kind of odd, but I actually aimed, and I'll try to show you here. I aimed towards the bottom of that target with this one. I aimed towards the head part with this one. There's a difference. They're shooting the same ammo. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go grab that target and I'm going to bring it back here and we're going to look at that. Alright, got the target. It's a heavy little sucker. You can see the size of it even closer here. Now, you can probably see the rounds. One of them hit way down here. Right down there. So out of those 20 rounds, there were, let's see, because this was freshly painted so I can tell where I'm hitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds out of those 20 hit. So that isn't great, but at that distance with, you know, a pistol like that, those pistols are not long distance guns. That's all there is to it. But there are 3 of them in center mass, believe it or not, and one pretty doggone close. In fact, if you drew your 9-inch qualification, you would be in the qualification there. You'd be a little out up here unless you were aiming up there. And this one down here just out of the edge. Same with these two. But they did hit the target anyway. And like I said, from 35 yards, and it might have been just a little bit more due to the fact that there's a tree right here behind you. I'm going to lay this down. This isn't light. There. There's a tree right here behind you. Well, I went over the top of the tree and I'm firing over this way, over the top of it, right beside you here. So it could have been just a little bit further than 35. Not too sure, because the 50-yard line is just right down here from you. That's where the bench is from it. So anyway, it was a longer distance than what normally you do with a pistol. That's what we wanted to see. How was it? Actually, to me, they were about the same. Just a difference in the way I aimed it. Because like I said, with the Taurus, I was actually aiming lower, which normally you would do at a longer distance because of the arch. But not this one. The Security9, the Ruger Security9, that one was fired upward. I actually fired it higher. Maybe that's the one that hit up high there too. It could have very well. I'm going to lay this one down and get this one out of there. Okay, but anyway, that's the 2 guns. That's the 2 distances, and I'm going to show you up close this time the difference in the barrel. I showed you back there a little bit further distance back at the table, but right there you can see the difference. And yet when we fired them, they were just about equal as far as being able to land something on the target. I would say that we hit 50%, close to it, on both of them, close to 50%. So that's not the greatest, but it did hit, and it gives you some idea on what they'll do at a longer distance. In other words, if you can, make sure you got a closer distance before you actually shoot these. Here's another point to think about. Now, I fired just the 10 rounds on each one, so I got an idea of where to shoot them. If you're going to carry a certain gun, such as this one, then fire it again. Either gun, doesn't make any difference. You've got an idea, okay, this one shot low, that one shot high. Or whether you had to aim it low, that one you had to aim high. Okay, once you find that out, then do some more practicing if you wanted a longer range like that. Fire more rounds from that distance. And once you get down to it, then this should do very well at a longer distance. But again, try to keep it where you're within your good safe distance. It's only a dire emergency to shoot like that. I mean, if there's no other way out of it, you got to do it. But that's why you ought to know what that gun will do. And shooting it enough will teach you what it will do. Okay, I loaded 5 more rounds in the Taurus, and as you've seen, it was just probably a little over 50% because I got 3 out of the 5 onto the target. So I'm getting on to the fact that it's lower on this one. So longer distance like that, you have to shoot just a little bit lower. In fact, where I was shooting is right towards the bottom of the target, and I think the rounds were hitting up just about center mass. I'll go take a quick check and I'll come back and tell you. One was almost dead center. It was within the middle 3 inches. The rest were low. The other 2 were low. So there were 3 out of 5. But that's when I wanted to let you know where they were at. So again, we did hit the target in just about 50%. So that's probably about what you'd get normally. Again, practice. Practice, 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 like with anything. So until next time, shoot safe and have a great day of plinking.